Hello and welcome. It's me, Terry Tillaart, here again today. Today I got to talk to you about the ketogenic diet for cancer, and it's time that this diet dies. And this is not an attack on any individuals. I'm not going to attack any messengers. These are many people who are advocating for it are, intelligent people with big hearts and good intentions, and I recognize that. Unfortunately, when this myth gets perpetuated, there are thousands of people who are getting punished for it. And before you start with the but, didn't you see this study or didn't you see that study? Any study that has shown pro-ketogenic diet, the control is people eating the standard American diet. I mean, that is a pathetic control. Of course, in any diet, in any study, if you remove processed foods, if you remove genetically modified foods, if you remove foods that were heavily sprayed with pesticides, if you replace local farm meat versus commercial farm meat, if you remove all of the common allergens, if you remove grains alone from anybody's diet, period, you're going to have improvements of health. In any study. So that is not a justification to make the diet worthy. And some say, well, really it's our ancestral diet. Except that it's not. Except that it's not. There are many brave anthropologists who spoke out, who've written books, who've clearly stated that the evidence does not show that. At best, maybe for the last 60,000 years, some scientists have said that maybe we've been eating some meat. And some people say, yeah, but humans are omnivores. That's total horseshit. The bear is nature's quintessential omnivore, and the bear, at best, eats only 10% of its diet in animal flesh. And guess what? It doesn't use any external mechanical tools. It was born with all of the anatomical parts for the consumption, catching, and digestion of it. And say, yeah, but there were spears. Okay, listen, you go out into the wild and try and catch a chicken with a spear. Good luck. Okay, as a solo person. Anyway, I won't touch on that. I want to speak to cancer in relation, I want to speak to the ketogenic diet in relation to cancer. I've got notes to try and organize my thoughts because there's so many points to say on it. Of course, I could go ad lib, and I will to an extent because that's just my style. A lot of people say, well, it's a big improvement. Listen, as I mentioned in the beginning, the paleo diet is Atkins remodeled, but it's Atkins 2.0, and it's better in the sense that it is avoiding more processed foods, it is having a few more distinctions, it is getting cleaner sources of food. But if I did a study of organic fruit versus non-organic fruit, guess what you'd find? Guess what you'd find? Organic fruit's going to produce superior results. So, of course, cleaner meat is better, but that doesn't mean that we're anatomically designed to eat it. A lot of times in blogs we read things about the ketogenic diet and the paleo diet, and there's a lot of suggestions, including on PubMed, of eating salads and various things to counteract the negative side effects of meat. A lot of people already know that it's dangerous. Now, we're not even talking about the fact that cooking the meat creates all kinds of toxic, carcinogenic substances, period. There is no food chemistry textbook in the world that would agree with anybody trying to argue that to the contrary. The same can be said for every other food. Heat damages food. Period. When you read studies about lycopene, what they're not telling you is about all the other substances that got damaged when the tomato got heated. Now, am I saying run away from tomato sauce, be afraid of it? No, I'm not suggesting living perfect. But again, people are dying by the advice of the ketogenic diet and cancer. How do I know this? Well, it's already been disproven on so many levels, thousands, if not over 1 million times, and I'll elaborate for you. By the way, there was a doctor in the 1920s, I don't recall his name, who tried the ketogenic diet. Big failure, so he abandoned the project. Dr. Atkins, of course, was advocating for the ketogenic diet for cancer. Colossal failure, of course, over the long term. Over the short term, it appears to produce results, of course, for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. But here's how we know that this idea that sugar feeds cancer, and you better watch out for fruit when you have cancer, and you better keep all the carbohydrate out of your diet if you want to fix cancer. Nothing could be more hogwash. There's more proof disproving that theory than most anything else I could think of. There are more people alive today courtesy of Gerson diet, courtesy of the Brandt diet, courtesy of things that Gonzalez was doing. And guess what? They had people on high sugar, high carbohydrate diets. If you remove the fiber from fruits and vegetables, beets and carrots even, if you remove the fiber from them, that is a wildly higher glycemic food than is fruit. On the subject of the glycemic index, a lot of people originally started talking about these diets because they were so afraid of insulin, and we had to control the insulin response because it was fueling the cancer. Well, Tufts University compared 4 different diets. Of course, Atkins was one of them, compared to, let's say, Dean Ornish's diet, which is a high carbohydrate, high plant-based diet. And the only diet of all 4 that was tested to lower insulin was, guess what, drum roll, brr, the high carbohydrate plant-based diet. Shocking. Shocking. Okay, the Joanna Brandt program was based on all grapes. Okay, how much more sugar do you need? But the fiberless stuff is even higher glycemic index than is any fruit that you can name. This vilification of bananas, which I've done a video on previously, is total insanity. But anyway, allow me to continue. Now, what do people eat on the paleo diet, on the ketogenic diet? Primarily, they're eating a lot of animal flesh. Some of them are saying, well, I'm trying to do this, gimmicky plant-based engineered version of it. When they did a study on vegan blood, and they took the blood of vegans and put it in a petri dish to see which ones were more anti-cancerous, the vegan blood, a non-distinct vegan diet, was 8 times more anti-cancerous than the other samples. 8 times more anti-cancerous. And of course there are junk food vegans. Being vegan by itself does not in any shape, way, or form mean that you are eating healthy. For those who are doing it for the moral reasons, there's lots of junk food vegans out there. That's definitely not what I'm suggesting. But if they would have taken that same study in the vegan blood versus cancer and made it a distinct diet, meaning a diet full of distinctions of what we were eating as vegans, I bet you that number would go up significantly. Ketogenesis. What is ketogenesis? For the record, that is the purest form of the body in survival mode. The definition of ketogenesis is the body in survival mode, not thrival mode, survival mode. The body doesn't thrive on that. The body is in survival mode. Do you really think that the other primates are out there in nature, really watching and calorie counting and making sure they're not getting too many carbohydrates and keeping their fruit intake down and peeing on sticks to make sure they're producing enough ketones? Do you really believe that? Does that sound common sense to anybody? I mean, please. Ketone bodies themselves are acidic in nature. They tend to be produced as a byproduct of an acidic diet. Okay, so before anyone tries to make up, oh yeah, but there's nothing to this pH thing, then why does the body devote uncanny resources to regulating the pH of the blood if there was nothing to acid or alkalinity when it comes to health? That ends that debate right there without me going into more detail. Of course, in my cancer program and many of my other health programs, I talk about this for hours. I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes, even though it's a complex subject. Now, when the body is producing ketones, when ketones are in the blood, your body is in all kinds of compensation modes. Your kidneys are compensating, your lungs are compensating. That's why your body's producing acetone, nail polish remover. My question to you, and you can go and try and create any kind of justification for acetone being perfectly fine. Does anyone here think that drinking nail polish remover is going to improve their health? Do you really believe that? So putting your body in a state where you're producing nail polish remover and your body is exhaling it, trying to eliminate it from the bloodstream, that's a compensation mechanism for your body. When your kidneys are flooding the blood full of bicarbonate and minerals and all kinds of buffering agents to try and keep the acidity down, do you really think that that is a healthy state for you? So the ketogenic diet, by the way, already is a low-fiber diet, generally speaking. It is a low-magnesium diet. It is a low-potassium diet. It is a low diet in vitamins and minerals because vitamins and minerals are predominantly found in the highest sources of vitamins and minerals are found in fruits and vegetables. But all roads lead back to fruits and vegetables, by the way. We hear this common theme coming in again. But not only do we consume low amounts of potassium, low amounts of magnesium, low amounts of fiber, all of which have been heavily, heavily tied to every health condition you can name, cancer specifically also, but your body is now wasting those minerals in its mineral stores to buffer the acidity that you've already created. So you've got your kidneys working on overdrive for over a long period of time. Some people do this for 5, 10, or more years, and you really think that that's going to have zero taxation effect on the kidneys? Amazing to me. You want to get rid of your cancer, you need some healthy kidneys, period. Putting any strain on them is the most unwise thing you could be doing. They call it nutritional acidosis. They say doctors are just lost their damn minds talking about ketoacidosis. You know, we're not talking about type 1 diabetics or alcoholics. We're talking about nutritional ketosis. Nutritional ketosis? That is an oxymoron in and of itself, because the diet of a ketone-producing diet is a diet, by definition, one that is low in vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals. How the hell is that considered a nutritional acidosis? Craziness. Absolute craziness. Where else did I want to talk about? By the way, do you think it's easier for your body? A sick person who has cancer has a finite amount of energy. The body's either going to be working on healing or working on digestion. Do you think that working on digestion eating a diet that is hard on digestion is going to produce a lot of extra energy for healing? Which do you think the body runs more efficiently on? On glucose, glycolysis, or on ketone bodies? Which one do you think the body runs best on? In survival mode or in thrival mode? Those stupid primates, boy, if only they were peeing on more sticks and eating more lard. Those who would have you believe that the paleo diet or the ketogenesis diet would have you believe that lard, high-fat yogurt, and bacon are superior to apples and bananas. Do I need to really go any further? What could be more counterintuitive and counterproductive for the body? I mean, this is complete insanity. You are digestive. Anatomically, your anatomical digestive system is that of the primate. The Bible's a moot point. The China study's a moot point. All the studies of paleo versus the SAD diet as control subjects are all moot points. You have the digestive anatomy of a primate. Eat accordingly. Take some hints from nature. They're not the ones who read the wrong textbooks, but I'll produce some more evidence for you and some more good common sense for you to get this clear. Anyway, so we talked about by the way, the World Health Organization deems bacon unfit for human consumption. Now, I'm not saying the World Health Organization is this great benevolent organization, but it's deemed unfit for human consumption, but it's paleo approved. Yogurt, there is no form of yogurt. I don't care if it's raw milk, Greekified. Fill in the blank, whatever that is. There's no such thing as healthy yogurt, people. God, can't believe that's considered a health food in anyone's books. Now, we talked about those other people already proving all this wrong. We talked about stress on digestion. Now, the ketogenic diet tends to be a high-cooked food diet. We talked about how carcinogens are created by heat in all foods. Do you think the primates, those silly primates, if only they ate more broccoli off the grill, that all of a sudden their health would improve? Maybe if they just drank the udder under more other species, they got under the udder of more species and drank their milk, maybe their health would improve. Or maybe those silly primates, if only they ate the cooked menstruation of another species, their health would improve. Okay, you want to eat eggs once a week, once a month because you enjoy them, by all means, go for it. Your health is not going to suffer. But for a sick person to be doing that, or for anyone to be believing, whether it's raw or cooked, that the menstruation of another species is the way to improve your health, we really need to talk. We really need to talk. Bone broth, right? Really? You don't have the anatomical structure, you don't have the teeth to bite through the bones. You would never do that for sustenance. If you give it to a cat, the quintessential carnivore, you give them cooked bones, it's a danger for the cat, and their health suffers by eating cooked meat. So the quintessential carnivore suffers from eating cooked meat and cannot eat cooked bones, but you perfectly, of course, will eat, Jell-O, which is what you're trying to get. Jell-O is what you're trying to get out of the bone broth. Is going to improve your health. Please. The diet of the ketogenesis or the paleo, whatever you want to call it, this ketone-based body of stuff that you're creating, this is done primarily on an acid-based diet, on a high-fat diet. For those who are confused, let me clarify for you. I can assure you the body does not thrive on a high-fat diet, irrespective of the source. I'm not anti-avocado, I'm not anti-coconut, and I'm not anti-coconut oil, but also for the record, for those eating coconut oil by the spoonful, this is by definition a processed food. By definition is a processed food. Sure, there's some health benefits. I'm not anti-coconut oil and I'm not anti-avocado, but should it be a large percentage of your diet? The answer is no. Irrespective of the source, the body is not designed for a high-fat diet. And of course, there is a tier of quality of fats in the diet. And the animal flesh one, that ain't it. There's one diet for healthy people and one diet for sick people, and it doesn't change. It's the same diet. It's always the same diet. Fruits and vegetables are the health foods of the species. Leafy greens if you want to get really nitpicky. Non-sweet fruit if you really want to get technical in your definitions. That's a conversation for another time. For those who are saying, oh yes, but cancer feeds on, I can't read that, I'm sorry. But for those who say, well, cancer feeds on sugar. No, it doesn't. I already proved that. The longest track record, the most successful, the largest number of people who are currently cancer-free did so not only on a high-sugar diet, but on a fiberless high-sugar diet in many cases. A high glycemic response, an insulin-stimulating diet is how they got there. Fruit does not do that. People are so concerned, well, what about all the insulin receptor sites on the cancer cells? That's a bonus. Fruit is nature's insulin potentiation therapy. You mean you're concerned about all those sugars that are bound to all those anti-cancerous phytochemicals? That's the stuff that you were concerned about? Fruit, the sugars that were bound to all the anti-cancer phytochemicals is what we're concerned about, that the cancer cells open their doors right up because of their excess insulin receptors and welcome all those anti-cancerous phytochemicals right in the door. That's what we're concerned about? People, please just think this through. Now, here are two other fantastic arguments for why the ketogenic diet is a horrendous idea for those with cancer over the long term. Over the short term, you might get some improvements by removing all the other garbage we talked about. But cancer is absolutely methionine dependent. If you want to have a low or non-existent, virtually non-existent methionine diet for those who have cancer and you want to starve the cancer, you don't starve it by removing the fruit. You starve it by removing the methionine and the glutamine. Guess which foods are the lowest in methionine and glutamine across the board, bar none? Fruits and vegetables. Here we are again. Guess which foods tend to supply large amounts of glutamine and methionine? Oh, the animal flesh diet. That's right. That's the one. So here you are worried about starving the cancer cells, and you're feeding it glutamine and methionine. Research. I just read a paper just recently, very modern research. Glutamine is one of the most critical nutrients required for cancer cell proliferation, aka the reproduction of new cancer cells. So you're suggesting to me that the best diet for someone with cancer is to eat a high glutamine, high methionine, high fat, highly cooked, high stress on the digestive tract, barring and removing the most optimal, easy digestive food in the entire plant kingdom, fruit, the ones with probably the most anti-cancer phytochemicals, fruit, and we're removing that and we're vilifying it. And what are we doing with the vegetables where we're saying, listen, when I eat broccoli, I get all these digestive problems, so I have to steam it or cook it and all this stuff. Maybe that's nature giving you a hint that broccoli was a suboptimal food source. Just maybe. I'm just curious. I'm betting on that. Anyway, I think I've touched on all the main points. If anyone's really confused at this point, there's probably no helping you. Many people are hell-bent on justifying that they want to eat this diet, that the paleo diet is good for them. For those of you who have tried other vegan diets, I can assure you, you did it wrong. It's not because you're anatomically different from us. And people say, well, everybody's different. Well, everybody's different in the sense for where their health is currently, where their mineral and vitamin levels are currently. I'll buy that. But from a digestive anatomy standpoint, we're identical, period. I've challenged many people to show me the human that produces uricase and show me the human that does not produce pitalin. No one's ever done it. They're never going to. It doesn't exist. From a digestive anatomy standpoint, if you feel like you struggled on a plant-based diet, respectfully, you did something wrong. And again, this is not personal. I'm not here to attack people. I don't want to start a pissing match. I don't want to go on for 300 comments in a blog about nonsense people trying to justify, because I know the flimsy justifications are. Someone told me recently in a thread, I switched to paleo because it allows me to eat bacon. Great, bacon's got lots of umami, I get it. Okay, fine, you want to eat it, but let's not justify that it's good for your health. That's like saying IPAs are delicious and therefore it's good for my health. While it may be true, it's not intellectually honest, logically consistent, or objective to state that it is a health-promoting substance. You like yogurt, fine, eat it. But let's not go down that road of intellectual dishonesty stating that it's a health-promoting substance, because it's not. Okay, so for those of you who, Mark Twain and many other people said it before, it is easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled. If your butt hurt after watching this video, or you didn't like what I have to say, or you want to continue justifying either way the way you want, go ahead and do it in private. I've heard every single argument and justification imaginable on this subject. None of them hold weight. None of them have persuaded me in the past. They're not going to today. You show me somebody who was on a proper vegan diet as a control study where another group of people flourished against them as a control study, send me the evidence, the actual real good science on it. I'm super open-minded to all of that. But for every other flimsy, whimsical B12, bring up any nonsense you want. I've heard it all, so please just spare me. If your butt hurt and you want to stick to doing what you're doing, have fun with it. Have fun with it. My suggestion is just be objective and then eat whatever you want in small quantities of your diet and skip all the justifications. Just do it because you like it. All right? That's just so much easier and intellectually honest and less stressful, because you're not going to die by eating small amounts of anything that you enjoy. The gains for trying to live perfect are very marginal, so I don't recommend it. With that, I'm signing out. Please, if you have cancer, especially if you are ill, please, for the sake of your family, because death is hard on the living, not the dying, do not buy into the nonsense that the ketogenic diet is the proper diet for people with cancer. The species-appropriate diet is the right diet for everybody, healthy or sick. I'm signing out. Take care. Have a great day. Hope you got value from this. Please share this video far and wide. Put it in the cancer groups. I don't want to go putting my own stuff in there, but I think this is an important message. So I'm out. Take care.